Hello everyone, welcome along to the VCO Esports Studio with me, Ben Constanduros. As you know by now, we are here to combine the virtual and real world, both in our studio show, but also in all of the different elements of VCO. And we've got plenty of events that are happening across the week now, with the very exciting Pro Sim series coming up in about 10 days time. There's also the digital NLS organized by VCO as well. And we have tonight the next round of the GT Pro series on R Factor 2. That's coming up at 8 o'clock local time in Europe. Today, though, we have a man who has experienced both real and virtual world racing in very successful forms, and recently won the BMW 120 Cup alongside teammate Sebastian Job. It is, of course, Graham Carroll from Red Bull Racing Esports. Graham, how are you?
I'm very well, Ben. Thanks for having me. How are you getting on yourself?
Yeah, very, very good. Lovely to have you with us. One of the kind of key names of esports racing that we've yet to really speak to, especially with your experience from both the real and the virtual world. So let's go. I want to rewind back to the very beginning and talk about kind of the first experiences of motorsport for you as a kid.
So yeah, back in the day, it was growing up. My father used to have a Formula Ford 1600 team. So up at Knockhill. At the weekends, I'd just go up as a young kid and sort of run about the car and run about the paddock up at Knockhill and just sort of love the environment I was in. And as you know, as I got closer to 7 and 8 year olds, my dad wanted to put me in a go-kart. So we had a little grass go-kart that we played about in fields and stuff with, but nothing that could go on a track. So we got myself a go-kart, 8 years old, and got straight into the British Championship, doing sort of cadets, juniors, seniors. And yeah, that's how it all got started, more or less, and won a scholarship into Ginetta Juniors backed by the BRDC, the British Racing Drivers Club. And it just took off from there, you know, never really stopped. And it's, yeah, karting's where it all started. And to be honest, it's still one of my favourite parts of motorsport. You know, you can't beat getting back in a go-kart for a bit of fun. So
when you talk to any person in motorsport, they say exactly the same thing, whether it be a Formula One driver or a hobbyist. Karting is such a pure form of motorsport. Who are your contemporaries when you were coming up through the karting ranks?
As in, like, someone I'd look up to?
Well, people that you were racing against that perhaps were beating or you were beating.
People that I was racing against, hard to say in cadet karts. You've sort of got some guys in British GT. You've got sort of guys, Stephen Wilson. The guys like these guys that had sort of big budgets and could do whatever they wanted back then, where I was just sort of in a van with my dad and just enjoying it, sort of didn't really know where it would go back then, you know. But yeah, the scholarship went into Ginetta Juniors, got us to jump into cars. I went up against a guy, Henry Surtees, for the year. Had a wee bit bad luck here and there. Shunted me up a bit, but it was a great season. Really enjoyed sort of a free year of cars, and I was 15, 16, you know, didn't really understand what was going on fully at the time, but really enjoyed it. And I went into single seaters from there, Formula Ford, the British Formula Ford champion, the Scottish champion, racing guys like Connor Daly, Joseph Newgarden at the Walter Hayes Trophy. And yeah, it kind of sadly just ran to a point where we needed £150,000 to go racing in Porsche Carrera Cup the next again year, and we just couldn't raise the funds. So it went back to looking for a sort of normal day-to-day job. To be honest, it was probably the worst period of my life, really. You know, I loved motorsport since I was a young kid, and then I sort of got pushed away from it. I didn't want to watch Formula One. I wouldn't watch any racing. I wouldn't go to racing. I just go to work. I was a joiner. I done garage door fitting, and I slowly but surely just got into sort of doing bits of Gran Turismo.
So it was in a replacement, was it? Your sim racing really came after the real world racing, and you didn't really have any involvement pre that kind of point where you had to make that switch?
No, nothing really. I did do a lot of sim racing, but honestly, I didn't even do it online or anything. It was just purely for fun at home. And then the sort of money ran out, and then I became a sort of joiner, garage door fitter, and I started to do the odd bit of Gran Turismo purely because I just missed qualifying. I missed being at the front and putting it on sort of pole or something like that. I just missed the feeling, you know. So I'd done a bit of Gran Turismo, and then I came across a YouTube video about iRacing, and there was a 60-car grid. And I was just thinking, I need to get involved in this, you know. So signed up to iRacing, and I've never looked back. You know, it's such a great platform to get involved with, and so many real life guys out there as well. You can learn so much from it. So yeah, here we are now, but that's how it all started, man.
It's interesting that you mention iRacing as kind of the big platform for you to make that step, because I suppose for me and maybe the people out there that know you as a personality, they would say that your real big step was coming onto the scene in R Factor 2 in that Formula E competition.
It was. That was kind of the point where I really realised that if I go real racing, I'm going to spend all my dad and sponsors' money. Where if I go sim racing, I can actually make a career, make money out of this. And to be honest, the only one who made a decent career out of Vegas was Bono, because he won the whole lot and got all the money, you know. So yeah, he done really well out of that. But for us, I think I made $20,000. It turns into $15K or something. So it's never going to change your life. But it was the first taste of, I won the event going there. I won the qualifier going there. I got to go into Marrakesh, met Nelson Piquet Jr., Jerome D'Ambrosio. They showed me a bit of Formula E car. I got to drive the thing. Whenever did I get to drive a Formula E car due to winning a Formula Ford race in real life? It just doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. So the opportunities you can get out of esports and online racing is getting bigger by the day, you know. So to get a shot at that Formula E car and then to come home from Vegas with 15K, I just thought, you know what, it's I'm not too fussed about getting back in a real car. I love to. It's still my goal in life. I'd love to be a professional racing driver. But right now, my career as a sim driver is a lot more financially better in my eyes, to be honest. Running about, trying to get sponsors and trying to keep your racing career going in real life, it's a hard game to play unless you're backed by someone with a lot of money, you know. So I love this sim racing. I really do.
If you look at even the Formula One grid, I don't know that maybe, I don't know, these days perhaps 3/4 of the grid are drivers that are earning money from somebody else's work. There are a couple of other drivers in there that have had to work very hard to get their sponsors, or indeed are sponsored by their relations. Outside of Formula One, and okay, we probably could take Formula E out of this now, but you don't get a salary, and you certainly don't get prize money in the way that the sim world now offers.
And that's it. And there's people talking that in the future, if the sim racing gets up to like a Dota level of prize money, CSGO level of prize money, do these real racing drivers now pack it in and come and start racing for the big money? Like, I know it's a bit far-fetched, but it's all to do with how much money you make at the end of the day, right? So it's I still believe to go out and win PESC from January to April next year is a harder task than winning some real-life championships, and I honestly believe that 100%. The level of sim racing and these top championships on iRacing and your F1 esports, you've got unlimited time to practice, where these guys turn up at a race weekend and they've got an hour or two and just got to go for it, where it's so competitive. But yeah, that's what I love about it as well. You know, if you do well, it kind of feels like even more better than a real-life victory at points. So yeah, it's awesome.
And you have made so many, not switches necessarily, but you've experienced all the different platforms through, you know, from the very simulator of R Factor 2 through to F1 esports and various ones in between. Do you find that switch of disciplines easy for you, bearing in mind you've had success pretty much across the board?
It isn't easy. It definitely isn't easy. You know, you can't just go from doing PESC for 3 or 4 months to then think, oh, you know what, I'll just go and be one of the quickest guys on R Factor, because it is a completely different way of driving. And no matter how good you are, you just get into a rhythm of what you're driving at the time. So driving something else is very difficult to adapt to, but it's doable. We've got a guy, Yoni, in our team. Yoni Termala is very good at sort of just hopping on and off different games, and I've been right up there in them all. And I think, to be honest, a lot of our team is like that. We can all sort of adapt, but I just love the challenge. I love starting off being, sometimes you jump onto a new sim and you're a couple of seconds off these top guys and just pushing, because sometimes after 20 hours of Porsche practice and iRacing, it can get a bit repetitive. Chase these Sebastian Jobs for 20 hours a week and he's still a tenth and a half up the road, you know. So it's sometimes nice to get a bit of different competition in different games, and I like jumping from sim to sim. It's always been something I've done. But it can hurt you. It's hurt me in the past when I came from F1 Esports back to iRacing. I was just your average Joe again. It's really took me a lot of time to get really back up to the front. And as you see in the BMW 120, and I won the last 2 rounds of PESC. It's going so well at the minute, so just need to keep the momentum going, really.
So do you have a preference in terms of the one that you really, I suppose right now you feel most comfortable in iRacing, but is there somewhere that you prefer to race?
I don't even know how I would be competitively, but Automobilista for me is the best sim out there. It just feels so natural, but it has nobody playing it, you know. So it's
yeah.
Some of us guys in Red Bull wish that there'd be a big competition on Automobilista, because it's just some of the F3 cars and stuff. They just feel unbelievable, you know. But for me, it's about how many people sign up to the race. Assetto Corsa feels awesome, looks awesome. It's not a big grid, you know. You're not getting these top sim racers doing it. So iRacing's the place to be, and F1 Esports is. But I'm 30-year-old now, and to be honest, I'm not into racing these kids anymore, to be honest.
God, you sound like a retired F1 driver, let alone an esports driver. There is a very good tip, actually, for anybody who wants to organise a sim event on a neutral platform. Yep. Automobilista is the one, isn't it?
It's got all the cars, all the tracks, and actually some really cool tracks as well. And yeah, we sometimes just load it up, a big group of us, and go and do some karting or some sort of random thing like that you can't really get on iRacing. So yeah, no, the physics are awesome, and highly recommend it. Highly recommend it.
Awesome. That's a good tip. The guys at VCO will be listening, definitely. Get practicing, because you might have a step ahead of the rest when we do a completely kind of baseline. So in terms of kind of memories of where sim racing has taken you over the first 30 years of your life, what kind of stands out? Because yes, there are all these big competitions where you earn big money, you're racing against the very best, but you're at home. Then there are the other ones where you have to travel to an event, be on a stage, and it's a very different kind of environment, very different kind of pressure. Is there one that stands out?
It's just got to be Vegas, right? How often do you get to go and compete in $1 million competition? And I was kind of like the poster boy going there. I won the qualifiers going there, beating your Enzo Benitos, your Bonos, your Gregor Hutus, the best sim racers in the world at the time. So for me, that was the highlight. And then just being in Vegas and sort of with all these Antonio Felix da Costas and Buemis and Piquet Juniors, and that was scary, man. You know, I didn't really know what to think about it, but they thought we were the quick guys, and we were thinking the opposite. But yeah, it has to be Vegas, you know, to travel to Vegas for starters, then to get to drive the car and stuff. It has to be the sort of main stage in Vegas at the CES show, competing for $1 million. It just doesn't get any better than that for me, to be honest.
No, fair enough. What does racing for Red Bull mean to you? What does it bring to you, being in what is not only a very well-known real-world team, but a highly successful this year in terms of esports?
It's something I've talked about with my manager a little bit, but staying on with the team. But like for me, growing up, I've always been involved in motorsport. I've always been involved with sort of cars, and Red Bull have always just had this sort of, even the clothing and stuff, everything about it for me is just, it's just the top of the level, you know. It's I've always dreamed of wearing a Red Bull kit and being part of the team, and to be part of their sim racing team and to have some success that they've had this year, you know, it is a dream come true. I've been in many sort of sim teams in the past, like Apex Racing, Redline, and really they're just still homemade sim teams, right? With a couple of guys, and it's still pretty cool and stuff. But yeah, Red Bull with like their Formula One team and all the stuff they do, it's quite a bit above any sort of other organisation in sim racing. So to be a part of that for me is just out of this world, you know. And yeah, to make a sort of living out of it as well is, you know, I know a lot of people that would probably do this for nothing, you know. So it's a dream come true, and I'll do whatever it takes to keep this going for the future, you know.
So great success yesterday in the BMW 120 Cup. That means that you would, in normal circumstances, have travelled to Munich to BMW to compete in the Sim Live event. It will be an online event rather than everyone together. Is that that changes the game, I guess, because it means you are on your own kit at your own place rather than that kind of weird sensation where you go to a stadium and get given a load of equipment that you've never really used.
Yep. It honestly really doesn't change a lot for me. I'd love to travel to Munich. I was there last year for the event in BMW, and it was really cool, you know, in the sort of BMW museum and all the cars about it. It was really cool how they done it. Shame that I got turned around about 3 times in one race, but it's what it is. But no, to be able to get into the final is pretty mega, to be honest. We put a lot of hard work into it. But it's kind of the same for everyone, right? Everyone's got their big fancy rig light behind me here with all their nice pedal settings and all their nice wheel settings. So if you then go to Munich, you're it's the same ball game for everyone. Some people might just not like performing on the stage kind of thing. Personally, I don't really mind it. I sometimes feel quite good when the pressure's on. But the way it's going at the minute after Pesk and after yesterday, I don't want to leave my steering wheel and pedals. They're attached to my feet and hands at the minute, and I'm not letting go. So I'm quite chuffed that it's on digital sort of at home. Not too bad.
Graham, how mobile is your webcam?
Very mobile.
Can you show us your rig? Is that allowed?
Yeah, I guess so. I guess so. It's just hopefully I'm not going to show you anything else. I shouldn't. So
what have we got here then?
Lift up here. So yeah, so I've got the SimCube 2 rim with the Red Bull logo in the middle there. Move this seat out of the way.
Race boots down there?
Race boots down there as well. You can see my 2 pedals, Puma race boots. I'll show you, since I don't have the clutch pedal and I don't have a dual clutch, I actually have an Xbox controller for my second clutch.
Nice.
So yeah, it's some bit of kit, and I like every little bit adds up, really. You know, every your steering wheel, your pedals, your PC, your screens, and then obviously the Red Bull fridge is another main factor.
You don't even have to get out the race seat to get your Red Bull.
Exactly.
It's always amazing to see the different equipment that people use. Because I think there was one of your Red Bull teammates or somebody didn't have like a table with a very basic Logitech, and one of the, was it Yayovsky or Simonchich? One of those guys. Amazing kit, and obviously you've got the kit there. You've got what everybody really wants: the triple screen, well, quadruple screens, and all the best feeling stuff. Do you feel that really, when you jump into another sim at Sim Racing Expo or BMW Live, that it takes you a while to adjust to the feeling of the sim, regardless of the platform?
It can do, yeah, because you've got your pedal. Your brake pedal is, in my eyes, one of the biggest things in sim racing. To stop at the correct point and not overdo it and not underdo it and not lock tires and all this kind of stuff. Oh, I'm just changing here a bit. So yeah, when you do get there and it turns to, like, I've got Husingfeld Ultimate pedals to like a set of Fanatic CSLs where I could go full pressure with my pinky. It's so hard to control that brake when my Husingfelds, I can put as much force in and I'll never hit 100%. So it is, but it's the same for everyone, right? It's how you adapt. It's how quickly you can get on the pace and be up there. And oh, my dog's just walked in here. Jumped up on my lap.
Oh, brilliant!
So no, it's and that's one of the things. Like, I was very shocked with Mr. Gregor Hutu. He was one of the biggest, quickest sim racers in the world. Yeah. Went to Vegas and he was basically on the back row. And to be honest, if that competition was at home, Gregor would have walked it. So it shows you the differences, you know, of how well and how each driver is different. Some guys are so used to their home kit. Some guys can just jump on any rig and just go on with it. Everyone's different, and everyone likes their different stuff, you know. But yeah, I've done a wee bit of upgrading, a wee bit like Seb over the last sort of 2 or 3 months, or to be honest, just before the last round of Pesk, and in my eyes, it's kind of paid off quite well. So it's you've got to be comfortable with what you're using. I guess that's key, I guess.
Yeah, no, and Sebastian said exactly the same thing, that his upgrade helped him be consistent rather than inconsistent with the pedals and everything being a bit more rigid. Kind of alien, I think, to a lot of people out there who perhaps don't or not raced a real world car and don't understand that that is kind of how they feel, and it gives you the ability to modulate so much better. I know when I put friends into my rig, they go, "What? Why does the pedal feel like you're hitting the wall? It doesn't make any sense. It's not like that in my car." Anyway, let's talk about one more thing, very, very important to us here at VCO, the Pro Sim series. You have chosen Stoffel Vandoorne as your teammate. Isn't that like just choosing a really cool guy to hang out with for the next sort of 3 or 4 months?
There was a lot of good guys in the list, and we've obviously went through it. Me and sort of Seb went through it and had a good look at who we want and who would be a good teammate. When I think Stoffel's, he used to do sim racing back in the day. Like there was a rumor I've heard for Bono and stuff that he actually got banned from doing FSR because he was cheating or something. So he was obviously good and knew what he was doing and stuff. So and I watched him do the Formula E sim stuff as well, and he was awesome at that. And I know Bono and stuff do some testing with Mercedes and stuff with him, and he's on the ball kind of thing. And he's obviously an awesome real life driver. He comes a dog again. Awesome real life driver, and I know he's quick on the sim. And yeah, he's a cool guy, right? So yep, it would be. He was one of the top picks for me, and yeah, I'm glad I got to pick him, to be honest. So
you guys now be hanging out on Discord, running laps together. It's forming a relationship that we heard about so much during the lockdown #1, if you like, and the 24-hour virtual Le Mans, where real world and sim guys come together and there's like a mutual respect, and you end up having better relationships out at the end of it.
It was a bit like Piqué, right? I went to Vegas, and I felt like the next game thing, I came back and he was WhatsApping me, and I didn't really understand what was going on, but we're just guys at the end of the day, right? And we share the same interest, and it's going fast no matter what we're driving. And he took me to Monaco when I got back to Scotland, flew me to Monaco, and I stayed with him for a week, and we're doing sims and doing this and doing that. So it's just, like you say, doors open that you would never believe in competitions like this, and help. So looking forward to work with Stoffel. I've not really got to speak to him yet. I've been kind of busy over the weekend with the 120, but I don't know, do you know about the I don't even know if I should really tell you this, about the first 3 rounds.
I do. You're not supposed to say anything. So Stoffel for the moment is your teammate. Stoffel's
my teammate. Yeah, but and again, it's the F3 car. Like all season, if I kind of be honest, I'm not great in the Porsche. I kind of struggle on a one lap or on a race against Seb and your Rogers. I kind of struggle. I'm always used to a front wing and chucking cars in deep into the apex, where this Porsche just doesn't accept that kind of driving. So I'm really pleased that I've managed to kind of get some good results, but this VCO thing's in the F3 car, and that's right up my street, you know. So I've been looking for a single-seater championship for quite a while, and have all these real life guys as well, and all the top sim guys. It should be some awesome racing. It should be really good.
It is true, actually, that outside of inside iRacing, people have gone away from big events on single seaters and have focused on the GTs and have focused with Porsche, of course. It used to be a single seater world championship on iRacing, but they've moved away. So this is one of the highest profile single seater things that probably exists on iRacing. Outside of it, there might be the odd one or two, but it's going to be, it might mix up the order slightly. Is that what you're trying to say?
You look at the iRacing World Championship a few years ago, and it was the F1 car. And you had your Martin Kroenke and your Gregor Houtu 1-2 every race. Yep. And then we moved to Porsche, and Gregor's now quit, and Martin has won 1 race, maybe 2, and he's 10th, 15th every single race. Now, I think I'm not saying the guys have done bad, but I think I've done quite bad from the switch from single-seater to Porsche, and I'm finally getting up there again consistently, hopefully. And you look at someone like Martin Kroenke or a Gregor Houtu, and at points they were untouchable, and just you couldn't get close to these guys no matter what you do. You know, they were pulling all the time. So it does show you these guys with such some experience, like myself as well, are really struggling in this Porsche, and show you how well your Seb and Rogers are actually doing. It's it's just their time. You know, it's especially Seb. You know, it's just so many years of this, and it's really paying off for him. You know, but a great teammate to have, as you've seen yesterday, you know, hands the car over with an 8-second lead, and even sharing data with the guy and stuff, you know, you can just pick up so many wee things. So awesome stuff, really good.
Well, that's a great teaser, I guess, for the VCO Pro Sim series. Starts not this Wednesday, but next Wednesday. And it might be the Sebastian Jobs and the Josh Rogers are in the grid alongside the likes of Max Verstappen, Stoffel Vandoorne, Rubens Barrichello. We also have Romain Grosjean in there. Incredible names. Don't necessarily think that the form we see in the World Championship relates to the form that we'll see in the VCO Sim series. Tracks will be voted for by you, the public, from Monday before the race, so the guys don't have too much practice, and it is in the F3 car. Graham, thank you so much for chatting with us. Can't wait to commentate on you racing alongside Stoffel for the season, and also looking forward to the BMW live event, which is the 5th of December. There is a big stream with everyone racing at home online. So, gosh, more and more this program becomes a promotion for all the amazing things that VCO are doing. So, I've just got a list of things, and it's just awesome. Graham, thank you very much for being part of this, and good luck with everything you're doing.
Yep, thank you very much for having me on, Ben. And yeah, looking forward to these competitions coming up, and we'll do our best. Thank you very much. And
goodbye to the dog. Thanks for making a starring appearance.
Cheers.
See you later. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Cheers.